Friends, I welcome you to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It is not difficult for you, but it is pleasant for me. And we're starting. I was on business in Novi, Michigan, west of Detroit. It was the early evening of the first night of a 6-day business trip. I had dinner, but I felt tired and was about to return to my hotel room when I decided to stop by Barnes& Noble. If I couldn't sleep, I wanted to do something with my time, not watch TV. I was standing in the bestseller section, browsing through new fiction, when a woman in her 40s came up to me, reached out, grabbed the second book from the now famous 50 Shades of Grey trilogy, and quickly left. A few moments later, a young mother pushing a baby stroller in front of her grabbed the first two 50 Shades of Grey books and pushed the stroller towards the cash register. Less than 5 minutes later, the third, a young, professionally dressed and very attractive woman, chose the first of 3 books and went to pay for it. An idea began to form in my head, and in the 15 minutes that I got to the Marriott Hotel, it finally took shape. Once in my room, I sat down at my laptop and studied the storyline of the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy for a while. I knew the basics, but I wanted some details. I found the chats and read the reviews and discussions from the first person. I spent some time trying to determine which of the women liked Christian Grey and Anna Steele, the 2 main characters, the most. When I had enough information, I opened a well-known site for free personal ads and sent the following. 50 Shades of Grey in Michigan? A more mature and less domineering man, like Christian Grey, is looking for his Anna Steele. I am interested in the possibility of a lasting friendship. I hope that we can have a normal, purely American relationship in public and the same relationship that Christian and Anna had in private. I am white, 48 years old, 175 centimeters tall, 85 kilograms in weight, neat, well-educated, have a professional job and experience in leading a similar lifestyle. You are interested in a permanent relationship, honest and ready to reveal your feminine side with the right man. Let's exchange a couple of emails and see if our needs match. After setting up a new personal email address, I disconnected for the night and went to bed. The next day, Monday, I was extremely busy. I attended 6 meetings, and in between I typed notes, kept track of emails and other things. It wasn't until I was driving back to the Marriott and passing Barnes & Noble that I remembered my publication about 50 Shades. I admit, I was shocked when I opened my personal mailbox and found a total of 11 responses to emails. However, it took only a few minutes before I realized that all but 2 were spam. Barb's response to the ad. Hi, my name is Barb, and I read all 3 books while I was on vacation. In fact, I've read them twice. I read your personal announcement this morning, thought about it all day, and finally plucked up the courage to respond. I am 46 years old, white, married, and live about a 20-minute drive from Novi. I work in Detroit and drive through Novi in both directions. Although I am married and do not want to change my status, because I love my husband and children, I need and want something more. Our lovemaking is passive and boring. I doubt that you will be interested in a married woman, because I will not be able to meet with you regularly. However, if you think you might be interested in having an affair with a married woman who wants to learn more about a bed relationship, let's talk. By the way, I'm 170 centimeters tall. I'm white. I have shoulder-length dark hair. Deb's email response. I'm much younger than you. I'm 26. Guys my age think that makes me a cheater and treat me like shit. I want my boundaries to be respected, but I want to be pushed. Height 160 centimeters, weight 60 kilograms, pretty. I have dark eyes and hair. I'm doing sports and I'm in good shape. I hope to hear from you. First I wrote to Deb. Dear Deb, my name is Chris. Thank you for writing. Your age doesn't matter to me. And I'm glad that you have experience working with older partners. I'm not looking for 24/7 meetings. Basically, I'm looking for friendship outside the bedroom and a willing submissive in private. I was widowed 3 years ago. While we were married, my wife and I discovered my dominant and her subordinate sides. All the time we were married, we studied bed relationships. I didn't date anyone right after I became a bachelor, but I have been dating for the last 18 months. I've met wonderful women, but they were all banal. I want and need more. Tell me about what you like about a submissive and describe your hard and soft limits. Chris. And my answer is Barb. Dear Barb, my name is Chris. Thank you for responding to my ad. Like you, I'm married and I'm not going to change my situation. While my attraction remains high, she has the opposite tendency. I am looking for a woman about my age, as I think it is important to have a similar life experience. I'm looking for friendship, not a quick romance. I admit this is the first time I've considered the possibility of an affair, and I admit I'm nervous. However, my need to explore the relationship between men and women prompted me to go online and look for this type of friendship. I also admit that your inexperience turns me on, as I think it will be interesting to train a novice submissive. Would you share your thoughts about the submissive? After sending the second email, I stood in the shower for a long time and washed off all the hardships of a long weekend. I got dressed and was about to go to dinner when I heard a beep announcing that I had received an email. It was from Barb. Hi, Chris. My husband is in his home office, but I'm still nervous about what I'm writing. Wow. I'm nervous and excited. I'm glad that you're ready to teach me and that it turns you on. I'm not sure I can answer your questions, because my only real experience is reading 50 Shades of Grey. I usually have complete control over myself when my husband and I make love. He's not being persistent. He just makes love for a few minutes and that's it. I wish he would do it more often. When we make love, he just makes love. But he never stays long. I just want the guy to take control of everything. I'm afraid to say this, but this is what I want. Barb. Instead of going out for dinner, I decided to order room service to eat and continue chatting with Barb via email. After placing the order, I sent the following to Barb. Dear Barb, I hope this doesn't sound rude to you, but I'm not making love. I always keep myself in check. I'm rude. I'm demanding. I want everything to be open. If we decide to continue this kind of relationship, I don't want you to be surprised. Does your husband work at home? If we decide to take the next step and meet, will it be easy for you to leave home? Chris. When I was typing Barb's email, I was notified that I had another email. When I checked, it was from Deb. It said, Dear Sir, first of all, I want to tell you that I regret the loss of your wife. This is terrible. Do you have children? I'll be honest and tell you that I'm tired of guys, and I've been studying girls for about a year, but I still haven't found the one I was looking for. I am a stylist and work in a large beauty salon. All our clients talk about 50 Shades. I thought, since it's so popular, maybe I can find a guy who likes it. In fact, I posted a couple of ads about looking for a bed relationship, but received only one line of answers with a desire to get to know each other. I need someone who knows what he's doing. I have limits. I don't want to be beaten up. Do my words make sense? Deb. A steak, vegetables, and salad were brought to my room, as well as 2 cold glasses of beer. I took my time and enjoyed dinner, and when I returned to the computer, Deb replied, Dear Deb, thank you for your condolences. I have 2 daughters. Both are in high school and they are good kids. They get excellent grades, play sports and other activities. I'm proud of them. Thank you also for calling me sir. I appreciate your attention to these small details as they tell me a lot about you and your bed experience. I agree with your limitations. I'd like to invite you to dinner tomorrow night. Could you meet at the restaurant next to the mall at 8 p.m.? I will be looking forward to this opportunity. Chris. There was an email from Barb in my inbox. It said, Dear Chris, my God, your letter didn't offend me. It freaked me out like hell. I mean, really excited. I'm soaking wet. Blushing. All that you have described is what I am looking for. Blush like a beetroot. My husband works in the city. He is always at work, and he also has an office at home. It can become a serious problem. He's very jealous of me. We do everything together, and it's hard for me to go out alone in the evening. I'm only free during the day, and I'm working too. Can we meet during the day? Barb. I wrote to Barb. Dear Barb, I can easily meet during the day, as I make my own schedule and am often absent from the office. Actually, I have appointments in Detroit tomorrow. Would you like to meet for lunch? Choose a place that is convenient for you. To some convenient place where no one will know you. I hope we can meet. Chris. I found a new email from Deb in my inbox. Dear Sir, thank you for the invitation. I would be glad to meet you. On Tuesday, I finish work at 1800 hours. I have enough time to go home and change my clothes. The restaurant in the mall is perfect for me. Do you have any instructions for me? Deb. After a few minutes, I replied to Deb. Dear Deb, please dress so that I like you. Put on a matching bra and panties. Be freshly shaved, legs, armpits, and pubic hair. Please arrive on time. We'll meet at the bar, and if we like it, we can go to the dining room for dinner. I will be looking forward to this opportunity. Chris. There was a new email waiting for me from Barb. It said, "Dear Chris, I am so nervous and so excited. Yes, let's meet. Could we meet at the Panera restaurant in the Home Depot parking lot at the corner of 7 Mile Road and Corbin Avenue? Can we meet at noon? I'll be standing at the front door. Please let me know if it suits you. Barb." My answer to Barb was a simple confirmation. "Dear Barb, I'll be at the Panera tomorrow at noon. I will look forward to meeting you. Chris." I turned off the computer and went to bed. Tuesday morning turned out to be very stressful for me, and by 11 o'clock, I was glad to leave my customer service office. It was only a 20-minute drive to Panera, and I parked on the other side of the parking lot, from where the facade of the restaurant was clearly visible. 15 minutes before the scheduled time, I saw an attractive dark-haired woman stop at the entrance and hesitate. When she came in, I decided it wasn't Barb, but after a while she came out and stopped at the entrance. From a distance, I could tell that she was tall and very well built. Her hair was combed back and pulled into a ponytail. She was wearing a tight-fitting top with a plunging neckline that could be seen from a distance of 50 meters. She was wearing wide trousers that accentuated her curves and long, tight legs. I noticed several men walking by and staring at her. Deciding I wasn't going to keep her waiting, I drove to the back of the Panera, parked, and walked around the building. We both smiled as I came closer. I held out my hand and said, "I really hope it's you, Barb." She replied, "Hi, Chris. It's so nice to meet you. Is it safe to kiss you on the cheek?" I asked. Barb blushed and nodded. I bent down, kissed her on the cheek, and whispered, "You're so damn beautiful." Barb took a deep breath and, lowering her eyes, shyly said, "Thank you." When I said, "Let's have lunch," I reached for the door and held it open. I boldly stared at Barb's cleavage, which made her blush even more. The queue was short, and in just a few minutes we were already sitting at a distant table with food. It was easy to talk to Barb, and we got to know each other. Although we flirted and teased each other, we didn't say anything about BDSM. When we finished eating, Barb asked, "I take it you're not interested in me?" I smiled and asked, "Why do you say that?" Barb shrugged and continued, "I thought we were going to talk about making love all through lunch." I explained, "Barb, I'm not shy, but I'm also not going to embarrass you and discuss personal things in a public place." I leaned across the table and asked, "Do you like me?" She nodded. "Good. I'm glad. I really like you too. Let's get in your car and talk about personal things. Do you agree?" There was a twinkle in Barb's eyes, and she nodded again. Barb's SUV was also parked behind the building and was only 5 meters from my rented Hertz. Using the remote control, she opened the car and we climbed inside. As we settled into the front seats, leaning our backs against the door and looking at each other, I nodded towards her cleavage and said, "You dressed up to please me." When she finished, she asked, "When can we meet again? Didn't you tell me that your husband leaves for work very early?" She replied, "Yes. He leaves at 4:30 every morning. And you don't have to be at work until 9 a.m.? That's right. I'll find a place where we can meet on Thursday morning and send you an email with the location. You might want to tell your boss that you might be a little late." I just said to Barb, "I'll take whatever I want on Thursday morning." Later that evening, I was in a restaurant, and I was sitting at a small high bar table. I had a good view of the whole bar. At exactly 8 p.m., Deb came in. She was young and pretty. Her dark hair fell over her shoulders. She had a slender, athletic, petite body covered in a knee-length brown mottled sundress. I watched her first look at the people sitting at the bar. Then she looked from table to table until our eyes met. Deb smiled and came over to me. I stood up when she came over, shook her outstretched hand and kissed her on the cheek. "Thank you for meeting me." Deb smiled and replied, "I've been waiting all day for our meeting." When we took our seats, the waitress came over and Deb ordered a margarita. As with my companion earlier, Deb and I had a little chat. She told me about her life, and I shared my fictional biography. We decided to have dinner, and instead of going to the hall, we stayed at our table. After ordering, I said to Deb, "I like your company." She agreed, saying, "Me too. I really like you." I continued. Deb smiled. I'm glad. I think you look good too. I hope our date doesn't end when dinner is over. Deb nodded, smiled, and asked, Are your daughters at your house? Yes. They stayed at home overnight. She continued, I have 2 roommates. They usually work at night, but today is their day off. My best friend runs the Marriott Hotel, which is located behind the restaurant. I've arranged for us to have a private place tonight. She was surprised by my answer, bit her lower lip, nodded, and just said, Okay. I looked into Deb's eyes and said, I would like you to apologize, go to the women's bathroom, take off your bra and panties and put them in your purse. Deb took 2 deep breaths and answered softly, Yes, sir. She stood up and looked at me one more time before going to the bathroom. She returned a few minutes later. When I nodded to Deb, the waitress returned with our orders. We ate and drank, returning to the more mundane details of her life. After we finished eating and paid the bill, I took out a credit card and a room card from the Marriott Hotel from my wallet. I handed the card to Deb and told her, Please go to room 507. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Deb agreed and left the restaurant. A little later, I used the second card to open room 507. Deb was standing at the other end of the room, right in front of the door. Come here. Deb hung up my pants and put my shoes in the closet. Go clean yourself up and meet me in bed. Deb went into the bathroom, and I went to the bed. When Deb came out of the bathroom, I was sitting on the bed. When she came to the bed, I told her to lie on my lap. Deb and I showered together, got dressed, and went to work. Before we parted, I promised to call her before the weekend. I had a lot of work to do on Wednesday, and I didn't leave the office with clients until almost 7 p.m. Back at the hotel, I booted up my computer and opened my personal Yahoo account. In the middle of the day, Barb sent me an email. It was titled, I hope you won't disappoint me. And the text, Dear Chris, I really had fun at lunch yesterday. It was great being with you. I like that you were in control and told me what to do. I admit, I was disappointed. I was hoping you'd be tougher. Don't get me wrong. The fact that I had to follow your instructions turned me on terribly. I know we were in a public parking lot, so you might have gone too far, but I just want you to be rude. I can't wait to see you again tomorrow morning. Please send me the address where we will meet. I will look forward to seeing you again and hope that tomorrow you will be able to behave like a man with me. Barb. I replied, Dear Barb, I'll be waiting for you in room 507 of the Marriott Hotel on the 11-mile road. I've attached the address. Please wear a nylon sports jacket, trousers, and sneakers. You can bring your work clothes in a gym bag and take a shower before heading to the office. Please come at 6 a.m. sharp. You won't be disappointed. Chris. I set the alarm for 5:30 and woke up with another strong boner. I smiled to myself, thinking, so she doesn't want to be disappointed? Does she want everything to be tough? Barb didn't know what she was getting into. We rested in silence for a few minutes, then Barb got out of bed, picked up her bag of clothes, and headed to the bathroom to get ready for work. Barb came out of the bathroom, dressed and made up. She looked great, and I almost knocked her down on the bed for the next round. When can we do it again? I would like to do it as soon as possible. I'll email you in the next few days, and we can arrange a date. Barb kissed me and went to work. When the door closed behind her, I decided to return to Michigan in a few weeks to meet Barb and Deb again. I also thought about putting an advertisement for 50 Shades in a Baltimore newspaper since I was going there next week. End.